Hi, I'm Arjun Partha, and I'd like to welcome you to the joy of Papertoy. And to those of you who are watching in the US, I'd like to wish you a very happy Independence Day. Today I'm going to show you how to make an Uncle Sam nutcracker paper toy. For this model, you're going to need a cutter, a cutting mat, some glue, 4 glossy inkjet papers, and a color printer. It's just as simple as that. After printing out the template, you should have an overall of 4 sheets. This is what the last sheet should look like. As you can see, it is very glossy and it's very thick. So that's how you know you got the correct paper. Let's cut it out. After cutting out the pieces, we have to start assembling. The reason I did not show all the cutting and the sticking of a few pieces was that it would go into too much time for one video. So I recommend starting from the base and going all the way to the hat. So the first thing you're going to do is take this base and you're going to take these two shoes. You're going to decide which side looks better for first shoe, left or right. Depending on that, you're going to select which side it's going to be on. I'm going to put this shoe on my left side, right over here. I'm just going to take my glue, squeeze it a bit, and put it in over here. Now there's a little glue on the side. Feel free to remove it with some sort of tool. Just like that. Now you're going to take your other shoe and stick it on the other side. Again, I have to squeeze this glue a little for it to come out. There we go. And we're going to go take our shoe and stick it in. Again, if you have any residue, feel free to take it out. A tool like mine here. Then you're going to take these cylindrical legs and you're going to decide which one you want to put on which side. I think I'm going to put this over here. Let's fix the glue in for that. And I'm going to make sure it faces this side and press it a bit so it stays the same. Now I'm going to take this cylinder on this side and stick it. And just slowly fix the legs in. Feel free to rotate it a bit so that it aligns well. Then we're going to take this torso and make sure that these cylinders right over here are going to go on these two. Now this is the front face. This is the back face. So these golden decorations would indicate the front. Let's stick it in. Again, I have to squeeze mine a little so it comes out. stick it in nicely. Make sure the legs are aligned to the correct position on this. Slowly ease again into position, and we have stuck this torso on. Now there's a choice you're gonna have to make. Do you want to stick the hands first, or do you want to stick the head? I recommend that we start with the hands first because it's slightly easier to work with than the head. You see these white centers? They're gonna go on these gold small cylinders here. Remember, these cylinders are very delicate, and so is this gold bit. So you have to make sure not to squeeze it hard. Oh, pardon me. We're gonna... Oh, I'm very clumsy today. Now, if such a thing were to happen to you too, remember, if the pieces have completely fallen out, don't stick them right after they dry. Just don't. Stick them right now, or just use the glue that is already there. And now this bit is the tricky bit. The circle will stay to one side, not another, and it's closer to this side than this end. So we're going to stick it just like that. Again, don't press too hard. It may look that strong, but this is still paper. Now let's keep that aside to dry over here, and we're going to take our second arm. Again, repeat the same process. Don't squeeze too hard and carefully stick the gold piece on. Then again, the circle that faces more or less inside this than outside, stick it there. So that when you put the arms on the model, this bit does not interfere with how well it's stuck. Just like that. And keep it to dry. Now let's make the hat. This is going to be the top, the part of the smaller circle, and this the bottom. Now it's gonna be like this, upside down. So let's stick it. Now the thing about this shape is it's not exactly a circle. No, it isn't. It's more of a polygon, and it has many sides that makes it look like a circle but really isn't. And that is used to guide us and help us in how we stick this. Now if you're using the same glue as me, remember that this has an approximate of 5 minutes drying time. That means you get 5 minutes to correct any mistakes you feel you made before it's permanently stuck in. Just nicely center this bit, rotate it, and press it. Just keep pressing it. Don't hit it though, because if there's some adhesive left on your hands and this lifts off, it's not going to look very nice. Just keep pressing it nicely. Then gonna take this, the hat, decide which side looks the best for you. That is going to be the front side. I believe this side looks the best, so I'm going to stick to that. Again, this time don't try and go to the very outer rim of the white part, because otherwise the glue is going to keep coming out and it won't look very nice when you're trying to take out the excess glue. Now we'll make it face this way. Gentle press, very gentle. Again, this may look more rigid because it's taller, but it's still paper, so we have to take that into consideration when we stick these parts together. Now let's leave the hat to dry over here. Now it looks like the hands are dried, but first we're going to take this beard right here in the head. We're going to see where it's going to line up, right over here. Now over here, if you look very closely at the beard, there's a fold I made over here that will come as a visible grayer line in the template than over here. The reason it's kept so that when you fold it, this bit before the beard and before the tabs, it'll go on this golden piece right over here. It'll go on this golden piece right over here when you're doing assembly for the beard of the model. Let's just stick that to the bottom of the face, and this time for a better glue spreading, I recommend you glue the head and not the beard tabs. If you feel the glue is not doing a very good job of removing excess because it doesn't have something like an applicator tab, use your fingers. It's okay to get a little dirty in this process. And just stick that beard. Don't be too aggressive though. And hold it for a while. This may be a beard, but it still has very small tabs. But if you want, then you should go to the cutting process and make the tabs a bit bigger. But I'm going to stick with the smaller tabs for now. If you want it to be a little stronger and you have a little glue left on the bottle, just nicely wipe that up on these small tabs. And again, let this dry. Now you're going to see this flagpole and these two sets of flags. This is going to be the front side of the flag. This bit is going to be the back. So let's just glue that and let's wait for it to dry, because that way we're gonna have more parts we can stick together later on. Again, don't go towards the corners. Try to stay in the center as much as possible, because you're not going to be very happy trying to scrape out the extra glue, especially if you use a very quick drying glue. Let's just put this on right over here. Be very delicate and try to move the model as less as possible when you're putting it, to prevent extra glue coming on your surface. And then just press it. Just press it here and there. Press it in the corners and press it in the center. And remember, don't fold any bit because it doesn't stick well. Like that, you should have your flag. And if you notice some grime, just feel free to scratch a little bit off. The flag looks much better now because we removed any grime that we've seen. Keep the side to dry, right over here where it's visible for you. And take these triangle flags. Since they're more or less symmetrical, you can choose any side to be in front or in the back. I'm going to choose this one, but it's really your choice. Now again, like I said, don't aim for the corners. Try to go as much into the center as possible, but make sure there's enough glue to cover the sides. And let's take our other piece and carefully stick it in. Then just gently press it. And when you put it in, make sure you don't move it around too much. Remember, don't pull on the flags, just press them down. Gently press them down. And if you see any grime, just use something to remove it. Now that was simple, wasn't it? I finished fixing the flagpole together. Now it's time to put the arms in. You will see these little white spots. Now on the actual torso, it isn't exactly written where you want to glue it because it's completely your choice. On where you want to glue it, just make sure it's symmetrical. So one side and glue down will not make the other side look odd. Now this will go on this side and I'll make sure it goes here. See, it's almost in line with this little dot over here. Stick it like that. Don't be afraid to press it in and just hold it there. Now if you'd like, this is entirely if you'd like, you can angle it a bit while putting it, but I am going to keep mine perfectly straight. Let's take the other arm, and again you'll find this, and you turn the model and you put some glue on that. Never put too much, otherwise it's not going to look great. And in every way possible, you try to make sure that this arm is in line with the other one. Just press that and hold that in. And that part is done. And now you're going to take the head. And I believe that first you should go ahead and do the hat, but it's a matter of your preference. Which would you like? Well, now it's time to stick the head. I recommend if this is your first time, stick the head then the hat, because then you can easily see where the center is with greater clarity. You can try to go towards the center, but make sure there's enough for the corners. Now just stick the head here. Try to make sure this aligned and goes a bit to the front. Now there's no actual way of seeing whether it's centered or not, but just take it from a bit afar. See if it really looks aligned. I think it looks aligned. So I'm going to let it stay on. Then I'm going to take the head right over here and put some glue on so that we can put the hat. Again, try to make it go towards the center as much as possible. Make sure there's enough so that even the corners get enough glue. Now, there are two ways of making sure this is aligned. Either you make a really calculated look and say that this red dot should go on the red dot on top of the head, or you just adjust it how much ever you like till you feel it's in the right position. I'm gonna make sure it goes on this way. Now I'm just gonna eyeball it and let it stand there. If you really want to make sure your model stays on for a very long time, I suggest you put some weight in the stand, very little in the leg, some in the torso, and some in the hat, but not the head. So it stays on for long. So this is what your model should look like. That is your nutcracker with your hat on. Again, when you do this, feel free to go near a mirror or some sort of reflective place where you can clearly see what it looks like, or just turn the button and make sure the head is on the correct way. Now, this is another totally optional decision. Do you want to take the flagpole and glue it on here so it doesn't go off? Or do you just want to stick to making separate, like be able to hold this? I'm gonna make it separate because that's better for me. Again, it's very good now to make sure the model is aligned. And you're going to take two of your flags and take some time and decide which flag do you want on. Now that you've decided, take any one of the flags. Keep the one you don't need aside, you can always use it as something else. I'm not going to use this flag, I'm going to use this flag today. Now, you're going to take this side and you're going to find a suitable side to place on the pole. Maybe the side where the folds were done best. Maybe the side where there's more strength. It's up to you to decide. But I'm going to choose the side where there's the most strength. Now we're going to approximate the length of the flag here. Or just measure it out and do it. I'm just going to approximate the distance and do it. Take very little glue. Just keep spreading it up nicely. Then take your flag. Just stick it there. Now, one way of making sure the flag comes towards the middle of the pole and actually not one end or the other is to keep it on a surface such that the surface is higher and the flag stays on one part of the higher ground and the pole on the lower. And you're just gonna see if that's the correct elevation, or you want higher, you want to change the elevation, it's up to you. But I am going to go ahead, take this and just place it like this. Just like that. It makes sure that the flag is in the middle and the pole is also holding it right there. Now you're just going to want to wait for it to dry. Now the flag has dried and I made sure I put little glue so flag still waves. Now again, this is completely your choice. You're gonna take your nutcracker right here and you're going to take the flag and make it rest against his arm. Now all the weight goes on this side, not this. Otherwise you're gonna cover up the face. First, I believe I'm going to have to make some consolidations to this arm. So I don't think it's ready to support that kind of weight yet. You're just gonna nicely press the arm if you're going to do this like me, or if you're just waiting for the flag to dry a bit, just hold on. Now let's take the flag right here. Now my flag has dried and it's become stronger with the glue, and I have finished gluing this part together. Now for the flag bit, you're going to find a place where you can see the bottom of the fold. You go into a place where it should stay secure, but be able to bend and rest in his arm. I'd like to say outside, and you can stick it there also if you like to. It will give considerable amount of support. But if you don't want to stick it, just wedge it in between the shoes and let it be like that. But again, the stability of the model is affected when you put it between the shoes, so I'm just going to try and stick it in a few places. Now I recommend sticking the bottom of the pole by putting some glue. Now if you're using the same glue as I am, it's okay to have very little remaining glue that comes outside that bleeds a bit, because this glue is transparent once it dries. And just wait for this glue to start releasing some liquid. There we go. Very nice. And we stick it over here in front of his shoes. And we hold it there for a while so that it stays in. And now you have finished the model. Let's see what it looks like. And this is what your final model should look like. It looks great, doesn't it? I thought so too. And now I'm going to choose to keep him right over here. Thank you for joining me today. And for those of you in the US, happy Independence Day. See you next time.